Hello there, Vic Benedict here. We're playing Castlevania Lords of Shadow for the PC, and this is my no upgrade run / no damage guide and walkthrough. We're currently on installment 10 of 12, and it's about a 12 or 13 minute video in which we'll have some confrontations with a couple of bosses, and this chapter by far has the worst checkpoints in the entire game. They stick you so far back that it makes doing these confrontations really tedious, and you don't even want to do them. This enemy here is called the Creeping Corpse. I went over it in my guide last time when I did my guide. I think it was in 2014 or 2013. And my best advice for this enemy, I'm getting these black screens again. I can't believe this. Okay, well, that resolved itself. I don't know what it is with these black screens. They come and go. But let me just keep running with this commentary. This checkpoint, I don't know which is more horrible, this one or the next one. But I was saying a moment ago before that black screen occurred that you really should just stand next to it and wait for it to attack. Because it's sort of like the skeleton where it attacks so fast that, particularly if you're consistently hitting it and it tends to guard a lot, which these guys do. I think any enemy in the game will do that. But they're really weak to holy water, so use those if you would like to. There is a sack of them outside of this cave, which they probably give you intentionally, but this is the second to last fight, and we've got, as bad as this chapter was for the checkpoints, the next fight, the next chapter with the pan fight, it's probably one of the funnest fights in the game. So that's what I was looking forward to on this miserable session here on this chapter. And I made 0 mistakes. If you want to consider that my goal was to sync block every attack that he does, and I did. And I think I've done that before, but I've never had it so that every attack of his I parried. Sometimes, you just can't do it because making 0 mistakes, it's a lot more than people can do sometimes, and sometimes I think it's okay to strive for perfection, even though it doesn't exist in the first place. It's just an ideal that people set for themselves. So I wanted to just say that, because I'm not saying that the fight was perfect. I'm just saying that I was really proud of it, and just all 3 phases, I was proud of them. But if you're not familiar with the pan fight, he starts the fight off with taking your magic, so you're not going to have access to your magic in the first phase. But it's not a fight where you really depend on magic in the first place, because if you've got this far and you're comfortable with sync blocking, you're not going to need to use magic. First of all, if you're not trying to take damage on this, you don't need to use the light magic. And, it's just, I guess, a matter of stamina for the final couple of, maybe just the last phase, because you do have your shadow magic return to you, so you can actually use it. But I was purposely trying to not use it, and I didn't. I used no abilities on the fight except for direct strikes and counterattacks, sync blocks, things like that. This is an optional fight, by the way. It's really nice because we've got a skeleton and he's very predictable and easy to deal with. So the pan fight's coming right up, and I can't believe I made 0 mistakes in this fight. I was really happy with it. So he's not hard to parry, that's the thing here. That's his main attack that he does there. And let this fight commence. So the trial is pretty convoluted. I'm not sure. I think I go over it, but sometimes see that he dashes away from you, kind of jumps away, sidesteps away, and he will sometimes do the attack with his left hand, which you saw demonstrated right there. And this phase is actually very brief, and you're going to be participating in these QuickTime events. At this point in the battle, he returns your light magic to you, so if for whatever reason you wanted to use it on this part, you can. And you've got to hit him a lot more on this phase, and I think it's the same amount of HP points that you need to take from him on this phase as it is in the next fight, but it feels like the final fight, or final phase of the fight, is a little bit longer. And I don't know if that's necessarily true. It just kind of feels that way to me when I'm doing these. It feels like I'm returning blows a little bit longer with them. And it could have been expedited a lot more if I had used Shadow Magic on the third phase, but I decided to not do it and to make myself have to last a little bit longer. But it's a beautiful fight. It's a gorgeous arena. It's a great adversary. And there's nothing like having a good opponent to fight with who's fair and fun to deal with. So it's mostly just getting the sync blocks down in this fight. As you can see, like all the entire every minute of every phase, it can all just be returning his attacks with counterattacks. Okay, so this is where it gets a little bit rougher, just because I don't really know for sure. It just feels like this phase, he's the same. It's the same opponent. It just feels like you have to do a little bit more here to kill him. You know, because look at his health. Now, he goes down a lot quicker if you use Shadow Magic, admittedly, and that's why I didn't want to use it here. It's just, you should have seen my face at the very end of this fight. Every time I got a sync block, my smile got a little bit wider until it kind of transformed into this huge shit-eating fucking grin on my face. It was wonderful. Like every time I sync blocked, my smile got a little wider on my face, and at the end it was pretty. It was something else, man. I was smiling from ear to ear, as the phrase goes. Damn. Just, I'll say this in summary: it's easy to parry him. I mean, admittedly, it's pretty easy, but to not mess up a single time, that's not easy. And I don't think I've ever abstained from using the Shadow Magic either. So I've always been able to take him down pretty good in the past. So, yeah. Some say that the window for returning attacks on this game is kind of wide open, and it is to a certain extent. I think it's about the same as it is in the sequel. I can't remember the sequel too much. But here he's sending a couple of projectiles away. Well, not a couple. I think they come together, didn't they? Yeah, here they go. Oh, here they go. This stage is really shitty. Did you see that parry right there? I don't have to admit it, but that was an accident for sure. I remember that one vividly for some reason. And then you're going to come down here, deal with a couple more of these guys. And I did want to mention that in the next video we're going to be dealing with the Necromancer. And I'm not going to be including the Reapers because they kill you in one hit, which pretty much means that it's pointless to have them in a video, because if I pass them by killing them, that means that I didn't take any damage, if you know what I mean. Oh, and here we're going to use the explosive. I think it's called the Explosive Quake. I can tell you the input. It's X, Y, hold, Y, like 5 more Ys, as many Ys as you can. And there's just a ton of these guys. There's like 100 of them at least. So we're going to continually refill here. And then we're going to be dealing with another boss in the next chapter. And I don't even know what he is. I think he's some kind of a crematory oven keeper or something. But the next fight, we're going to avoid it as much as we can, just because there's creeping corpses. And I got the parries down for these guys, but on this particular run that I got, I was able to toss holy waters and prevent the corpses from animating the coffins and making them into creeping coffins. So we're just gonna toss holy waters. I mean, look how many of these goddamn guys there are. So that may be the end here. Okay guys, we're gonna be finishing up this fight, and then I do have to make an apology because I don't have the footage of the next fight. It is a fight with creeping corpses, but all I did was throw holy waters to prevent them from turning into the creeping corpses. I also have to make another apology that in Installment 8, when I was watching the video, it occurred to me that I did not include the fight with the 2 Shadow Masters right before the 10 gremlins that you fight. Are they gremlins? Yeah, they're gremlins. It's just something where sometimes footage gets lost and or not put in the guide. So here on the boss, he's got an unblockable swipe that he does. He's got a tentacle attack that he does, which is parryable. He has got an overhead attack where he will send out a shockwave on the ground. He's got that attack, which you need to steer clear of for sure. And then he's got this attack where he shovels out his fucking shitters here, and you need to throw holy waters to take care of them as promptly as you can. So that attack kind of looks like his attack where he slams his shovel into the ground. I don't think he's done it yet. But the primary attack that you want to parry is that one right there. And or the attack that he does that looks like the one that he just kind of not see that one? He does one of those too, just like that, but it's not unblockable. So you can block and parry it if you want to. So here he's digging out a couple more shitters. So just throw them right there. Okay, so there is his overhead slam into the AoE. There is his unblockable swing. That kind of comes out of nowhere, that one does. So when he's subdued here, you don't want to go up to him, you want to go up to the grill and use your combat cross to open it. And he's stunned for just long enough so that you can do this. And then you go up to him. And then we're just about done with this chapter. After we do this quick time event, we'll be completely done. So once again, I want to apologize for losing the footage. So that's pretty good for an entire run, just losing 2 fights. And they aren't fights that are difficult. And we've surely done much more difficult things than just those 2 fights. So that's been the 10th installment. We've just got one more QuickTime event here. And I leave these in just as confirmation that I was successful in completing them. So I want you guys to take care, and I will see you in the next installment. So take care, and thank you very much for watching my guide.